Bron. The reason why is because Bron can control.
He said Bron. He said Bron, Talil. Talil, he said Bron.
You ain't gonna fight me, bro?
He got Bron's images added on him. Pull up a chair.
You got Bron's signatures added on you? I'm gonna be honest.
Show me
It takes about 7 minutes to get from my room to this room. I was running full speed to come see your auntie in person because you never played against Jordan. You never played against Jordan. No. So there's no way you can say Jordan is better than Bron.
No, hold on. Let's say his reasoning though.
So
Bron because why?
It's Bron because people threw the towel in on J.R. Smith. Right? As talented as J.R. was, people threw the towel in on him like, yo, he can't play women's basketball, he can't do this, he can't do that. It's not just J.R. though. If you look at some of the guys that he had to lead, yeah, J.R. had talent, no question. But people threw the towel in on you already. When people throw the towel in on you in this league, it's over. And people threw the towel in on J.R. and Bron's like, nah, this man can shoot and he can defend. I can do something with that. I don't think MJ had many guys that went through that. Like Scottie Pippen is like
Matthew Dellavedova.
Deli stinks.
Like Matt.
He won 2 games in the NBA Finals with Deli.
Like
stinks.
Matthew Dellavedova. It's fucking terrible.
I got a
chase
lot of
Stephen Curry around.
I got a lot of respect for Deli. Stinks. I respect his game. Completely stinks. Like to win with like guys like that. Man, it's so hard to win in this league, bro. To win with guys like that. MJ wasn't winning with Matthew Dellavedova. I mean, unless they thought that of Steve Kerr, but like, he wasn't winning with Matthew. I just think Bron's a point guard, man. Like, he controlled everything that happened on the floor.
Right.
The triangle kind of controls stuff for you. Now, don't get me wrong, MJ is MJ. No disrespect to MJ. But the triangle, you don't have to control everything.
In the history of the NBA, no argument burns hotter than Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. It splits families, hijacks barbershops, and turns timelines into war zones. But even in the middle of chaos, there's supposed to be one rule: respect the facts. Because once you start bending the truth, the whole debate turns into performance art. And that's exactly what happened when Draymond Green decided to compare Scottie Pippen, a defensive monster, 7-time All-Star, 10-time All-Defensive Force, Hall of Famer, and backbone of a dynasty, to Matthew Dellavedova, a scrappy role player known more for hustle plays than historic impact. That wasn't a bold take. That was basketball blasphemy. That's not stirring the pot. That's flipping the table. You can argue about the GOAT all day. That's fair game. But shrinking Pippen down to Dellavedova, acting like Jordan's dynasty was propped up by randoms, that turns a legendary debate into a cartoon. Anybody who actually watched the 90s knows what Jordan and Pippen did to this league. They didn't participate in the era. They owned it. Jordan doesn't need defending. But the game itself deserves honesty. He wasn't carried. He carried. He took a laughingstock franchise and turned it into a global empire, brick by brick, year by year. Draymond might be a genius defensively, but this right here sounds like someone rewriting history to protect a narrative. Jordan didn't stand on Pippen's shoulders to become immortal. Pippen rose because Jordan pulled him there. And Dellavedova? He's not even in the same zip code as that conversation. And that leads directly into the next uncomfortable truth. Because once you peel back Draymond's argument, it falls apart fast. The entire foundation is this idea that LeBron dragged teams full of nobodies to glory. That sounds heroic. It sounds cinematic. It just isn't accurate. Take 2015. Yes, Kyrie Irving goes down. Yes, Dellavedova starts. And yes, he had one gritty defensive stretch on Steph Curry. But what happened next? He collapsed from exhaustion and ended up hospitalized for dehydration. The Cavaliers lost the series 4-2. That's not a carry job to a championship. That's a superstar fighting hard in a losing effort. And we don't hang banners for almost. We celebrate winners. Yet somehow the story gets retold like LeBron conquered the league next to Dellavedova. He didn't. He lost. And here's the part that makes fans uncomfortable. LeBron has never won without elite superstar help. In Miami, he joined Dwayne Wade, one of the greatest shooting guards ever, and Chris Bosh, an 11-time All-Star. That's not a pickup squad. That's a super team blueprint. In Cleveland, he had Kyrie Irving dropping 41 in the finals and Kevin Love putting up 25 and 13 in his prime years. In Los Angeles, he paired with Anthony Davis, a top 75 talent and one of the most dominant two-way bigs of this era. That's not dragging nobodies. That's assembling firepower. Now contrast that with Jordan walking into Chicago when the Bulls were a punchline. Dysfunctional. Directionless. No glamour, no superstars waiting. He didn't recruit greatness. He manufactured it. Pippen evolved. Horace Grant became an all-star. Steve Kerr became a finals assassin. Role players sharpened under Jordan's edge. Dellavedova is not Pippen. And the idea that LeBron carried in some mythical way, it collapses under scrutiny. Here's the brutal math. LeBron had superstar help and still lost 6 finals. Jordan started from zero and built the most dominant legacy the sport has ever seen. That's not spin. That's reality. And if Draymond wants to talk about carrying, let's revisit one of the coldest moments this sport has ever witnessed. Game 6, 1998 Finals. Chicago versus Utah. The stage couldn't have been bigger. Scottie Pippen's back was wrecked. He could barely move. Later he admitted he was basically a decoy. The Bulls weren't playing 5-on-5. They were surviving 4-on-5. So what did Jordan do? Did he complain? Did he blame? Did he wait for someone else to save him? No. He became the entire story. He dropped 45 in a defensive slugfest. He stripped Karl Malone in the defining moment. And with 5.2 seconds left, he isolated, rose up, and buried the shot that froze the world. That wasn't just a bucket. That was mythology being written in real time. That was a man carrying a wounded team across the finish line to a championship. Not a couple gutsy games before losing the series. A ring. The difference is massive. LeBron gets praised for surviving with role players. Jordan gets immortalized for finishing the job when everything around him was collapsing. That's the gap. That's the part nobody wants to admit. Jordan didn't just win when conditions were perfect. He won when the walls were closing in. One possession, one shot, one dynasty sealed, and the planet watched it happen. And let's be honest, LeBron James has never lacked elite help. No matter how many times the narrative gets recycled, at every major stop in his career, he aligned himself with top-tier talent. Miami wasn't accidental. That was Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh forming a super team before the term was mainstream. Cleveland wasn't a miracle. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love were established stars. Los Angeles wasn't luck. Anthony Davis was a franchise cornerstone in his prime. These weren't projects. These weren't unknowns. These were certified names. That's not carrying. That's collaboration at the highest level. Now, here's the question. If LeBron truly carried the way some claim, why does the resume always include another superstar in bold next to his name? And if Jordan supposedly leaned on Pippen the way critics suggest, why does the most iconic championship moment in league history show him standing alone at the top of the key with the entire world holding its breath? That's where this debate really lives. Not in hot takes, not in friendships, in the moments that define legacies. So I'll leave it here. Was Draymond defending a friend, or did he just expose how shaky this carrying narrative really is? Let me know in the comments, because this conversation isn't ending anytime soon. That's not carrying. That's hand-picking Hall of Fame running mates. And even with all that firepower, LeBron still walked off the final stage 6 times without the trophy. Think about that. Now flip the lens to Chicago in the mid-'80s. When Michael Jordan arrived, the Bulls weren't contenders. They were a punchline. No culture, no stars, no belief. He didn't join greatness. He built it from the ground up. He took Scottie Pippen, a raw, skinny prospect from Central Arkansas, and helped mold him into one of the most complete two-way forces the game has ever seen. He elevated Horace Grant into an all-star. He turned John Paxson and Steve Kerr into cold-blooded final snipers. That's not partnering with polished stars. That's forging them. LeBron's legacy is tied to aligning with established greatness. Jordan's legacy is tied to manufacturing it. And history doesn't blur that line, it engraves it in stone. LeBron didn't carry nobodies. Jordan carried an entire franchise into immortality. Draymond and others love to say Jordan always had Pippen, like it was some ready-made cheat code. But that logic falls apart instantly. When Jordan entered the league, Pippen wasn't a star. He wasn't even close. He was potential, that's it. Under Jordan's relentless standard, that potential turned into dominance. That transformation wasn't accidental. It was engineered through obsession, accountability, and a refusal to tolerate mediocrity. And it didn't stop there. Horace Grant blossomed. Paxson and Kerr became trusted assassins. Role players didn't just fill space, they rose because the environment demanded it. Jordan didn't just pass to open shooters. He created the pressure that made them reliable when everything was on the line. Some cracked under it. The ones who survived became champions forever. Now compare that to LeBron's path. He didn't develop stars into champions. He joined champions who were already stars. Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, Anthony Davis. These weren't unfinished products. They were proven commodities. So comparing Pippen to Dellavedova isn't just wrong, it's laughable. Dellavedova was a gritty role player. Pippen became a Hall of Famer. And the blacksmith shaping that rise was Michael Jordan. Here's where the debate gets uncomfortable. Jordan represents perfection. LeBron represents longevity. And longevity is impressive, but isn't the same as greatness. Longevity means you lasted. Perfection means you conquered. Yes, LeBron has stacked numbers, shattered records, and extended his career into 2 decades. But longevity also means your flaws stay on display. 6 finals losses, multiple collapses, super teams that didn't finish the job. Jordan's peak was shorter, but it was razor sharp. He stepped away twice and still returned to dominate. In barely over a decade of prime years, he built the cleanest resume the sport has ever seen. 6 finals appearances, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. No Game 7 in the finals. No cracks in the armor. That's not survival. That's supremacy. LeBron's longevity keeps the conversation alive. Jordan's perfection ends it. 6 and 0 will always loom over 4 and 6. You can't outrun it. You can't stat pad past it. Basketball doesn't worship who lasted the longest. It worships who never broke when it mattered most. Longevity belongs to LeBron. Perfection belongs to Jordan. And perfection always wins. And if Draymond wants to argue Jordan didn't beat real dynasties or faced an easy road, history shuts that down instantly. In 1991, Jordan dismantled the Showtime Lakers led by Magic Johnson and won 4-1 to announce a new era. In 1992, he crushed Clyde Drexler and ended the debate about the best shooting guard alive. In 1993, he took down reigning MVP Charles Barkley while averaging a finals record 41 points. In 1996, fresh off baseball, he beat the 64-win Seattle Supersonics, the league's top defense. In 1997 and 1998, he closed out Karl Malone and John Stockton back-to-back, sealing both titles with iconic daggers. That's not ducking dynasties. That's executing legends. Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller, Barkley, Malone, Stockton. Hall of Fame names walked away ringless because Jordan stood in their path. Dynasties didn't crumble on their own. He dismantled them. So when Draymond compares Pippen to Dellavedova or paints LeBron as some lone superhero dragging scrubs to glory, he's not defending a friend. He's challenging reality. The record is carved in granite. 6 finals, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. No hypotheticals. No almosts. Just dominance. LeBron aligned with superstars and still fell 6 times. Jordan built champions and never lost once on that stage. The throne wasn't borrowed. It was conquered. Let the noise get loud. Let the debates rage. History doesn't bend to volume. It bends to results. And the results are eternal. Michael Jordan isn't 5th. He isn't just 1st. He's the standard everyone else is still chasing.